Hi everyone, this is Kevin from Supernatural Selection. Are you an independent creator? Do you have a webcomic or an Etsy store? Do you 3D print things? Or are you just looking to get some word out for your Discordian cabal with social terrorism? Well, we'd love to help. And David, I believe you've got some details about how we can help.
Why, certainly. If you go to supernaturalselectionpod.com/contact, that is supernaturalselectionpod.com/contact, you can learn how to advertise with us.
That's right. I believe the rate is $2 per episode. You can't beat that with a stick.
I mean, trust me, we've tried.
Yeah, that's cheap. That's literally cheaper than dirt.
And best of all, if you're not sure how to write an ad, we'll do it for you. We'll even record it.
Absolutely. Just let us know what you need in the ad, and we'll be happy to do that for you.
And again, that URL is supernaturalselectionpod.com/contact.
And now, back to the show. And hello, welcome to Supernatural Selection. I'm your host, Kevin. With me this week are Mike the Skeptic. Mike, how are you doing?
Slaughtering of the goat.
Clearing of the throat, the slaughtering of the goat, and the pummeling of the stoat?
Crossing the moat.
Oh, that's a good one, too.
Sinking the boat.
And none of those involve beating up a small animal. That's great.
And down here we all float.
Ooh. Okay, that's a good ender for that. I like that. And we've got Mr. David Davis. How are you today, David?
Not bad, not bad. How are you today, my friend?
You know what? I'm not bad. Realizing I am not actually burnt out on drawing, just on comics, because I am just churning these damn chapter headers out for the book.
That's great.
Yeah, no, it's exciting. I'm doing stuff. So, we have got, before we get started, I want to remind everyone that we are still currently taking submissions for this year's zine, which is Alien Encounters and whatnot. If you would like to submit prose or artwork, you can find all the information you need to do so at supernatpod.rocks/zines.
Mm-hmm. And I want to note that so far, we happen to be very text-heavy at the moment, which is a nice, surprise.
Yeah.
We got some poetry in there. We've got some short stories. Someone sent in a comic, which is great.
Oh, that's cool.
So we could use more illustrations. So if you want to doodle, a gray or whatever, you, the listener, Kevin, I expect you to do something anyway. But,
I may do the drawing because that may be easier because I've got a horrifying idea of drawing something I remember from childhood. So,
but it's been going good so far, and
cool.
Yeah, I'm very pleased that we've got a lot of text this time around, which is nice.
One or two of them may be friends of mine from the writers group I'm in, so we'll see. And anything else with the zine?
No, that's about it. Just hey, if you got some art, send it in. Of course, we're still welcoming text as well. So
yes,
write a poem.
Write a poem about the aliens. Oh, Gray on the grass, are you eating an elf?
I thought you were going to go with ass.
Oh, man, I should have gone there, too. No, it's a old inside joke. Mike, you remember the whole thing about there's a gray on the grass eating an elf?
Yes.
Yeah, I said there's a gray on the grassy knoll, and I don't remember if it was Paul or Austin that misheard me as there's a gray on the grass eating an elf. And we kept drawing that for a while. Anyway, I also want to remind everyone that we still have ad spots available. I'm not sure that we're going to have time to do many interviews going forward for the show. So if you would like to advertise your book or anything else for that matter, it is $2 per episode for a slot. So contact us at sueprnatpod.rocks/contact for more info. We can record the ads for you if you have copy. If not, it may take a little longer because we'll have to write the copy for you. But we would love to advertise your independent project. Me and David are obviously big supporters of the indie artist.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I know Mike is as well in his own way.
Yeah.
Born Patreons. No, I'm kidding.
Look, I'm from old school internet. I'm not paying for that stuff.
Oh, that's right. Our horror, we do it the old-fashioned way around here.
No, just,
Okay.
Missionary style.
What? I'll run you up the mizzen mast. And yes, that's code. So guys, this week we're going to finally be talking about what may be the most important case in the world of ufology, period, full stop. This is a case, regardless of what actually happened, changed the face of ufology, and in a lot of ways, popular culture forever. And after this, we didn't see aliens as friendly himbos from Venus anymore. They weren't coming here to warn us about nukes.
Their urges.
Now we have unfriendly himbos from Venus that kick over your sandcastle at the beach.
Yeah, that's
not very himbo of them.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
jerkbo.
Jerkbo, yeah. Got to get our Charles Atlas stuff in from those Marvel comics so we can bulk up and defend ourselves. God, that's a dated reference.
No, what we need is an ad from that lady who snapped that one alien's neck.
Oh yeah, no, we need the Appalachian woman that snapped that son of a bitch's neck.
Do you want this power? It's all in your fingertips.
It's all in your fingertips. They'll have to weekend at Barney's that motherfucker out of your room. Anyway, we are still living in the aftermath of this incident. We have this podcast to do because of this incident. And I am, of course, talking about the Betty and Barney Hill abduction case. Before we get started, we're going to talk about our sources for the night. First, The Interrupted Journey by John Fuller. This is the book John Fuller wrote after interviewing Betty and Barney Hill. It is a very well-written piece. Paints them as very sane and very human as well. I highly recommend it. It is also available in audiobook format if that's your cup of tea. So you can find that on Kindle or, whatever. I actually have a paperback copy that I got, and it is rapidly disintegrating. So, old paperback copy. Next source, the UFO incident from 1975. This is a TV movie based on The Interrupted Journey, directed by Richard A. Cola, and stars James Earl fucking Jones as Barney and Estelle Parsons as Betty. It also has the old man from Tron in it, so that's kind of cool. You know, the old man that ran the I.O. Tower?
Oh, shit, yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah. Him. The one that was, bitching at Dillinger about, I remember when the MCP was just a chess program in my garage. That guy is in it. So that's kind of fun. Also, it is so much better than it has any right to be for being a TV movie from 1975 about the first UFO abduction. It is just good, and it's available on YouTube. There is a link in the doc to it on YouTube. Very terrible quality, which I find may be the best way to watch it. Also, Unexplained, second edition by Jerome Clark. Because there's so much information in there about this. Jerome, God, I wish he'd get back into UFOs. Sometimes I get tired of Bigfoot.
Now he's just into motorcycles and picking up chicks.
Well, you know what? Actually, he's writing country music. He's a country and folk writer, believe it or not.
Oh, yeah, he's doing that country music thing, too. He's just an all-around badass now.
Yeah, he kind of is. Also, assorted Wikipedia articles for quick reference that I needed. You know, just for like every now and again being like, when was he born? You know, stuff like that. So before I actually launch into this with the doc, what do we know about the Betty and Barney Hill incident? You know, discounting everything I've gone on about with you guys. Mike?
What do you got, Mike?
I mean, just the normal, you know, zeitgeist of what, you know.
Yeah. This was an alien abduction, and it was an interracial couple. That's about it, right?
Pretty much.
Good use of zeitgeist there. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Cultural zeitgeist.
Yeah.
I guess actually could.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because I guess you could have other zeitgeists other than the cultural one. You could have, like, you know.
Political.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want a T-shirt that says, I am the cultural zeitgeist.
You could have the, you know, diaper fetish zeitgeist.
Oh, God. Let's not go there.
No.
Well, like, in a lot of ways, this is the abduction encounter story.
Oh, ain't it, though?
Yeah, couple driving on a remote road, loses time, later speaks about having been abducted. Like, so many similar stories in popular culture echo this one, because as far as I know, this is one of the first and also one of the most widely reported and documented.
It is definitely the first that didn't involve going to someplace like Lanulos.
Yeah, space hippies.
Yeah, with Woody Derenberger and being naked on an alien planet.
I remember my mom used to buy Lanulos for her, you know, dry skin.
Well, you know, I used to buy Lanulos, but then I realized I wasn't, lactose intolerant, so...
Lanulos makes me feel more like a woman.
I bet it does. So, let's talk about the Hills. This couple.
I hear they have eyes.
Dang it, Bobby.
Dang it, Bobby.
Yeah, I did appreciate the Wes Craven reference there, too.
Yeah. A lot of good references there. I've been trying not to... nowhere in the doc, but now all of a sudden, I did not make a single reference to the Flintstones.
Right?
So,
Yeah.
kind of proud of myself until now. So,
Now that you thought about it, you're like, damn it.
No, I still might use... You know what? I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do it. Fuck it. Anyway, so Barney Hill was born July 20th, 1922 in Newport News, Virginia, and was the youngest of 4 kids. Obviously, is African American, which that is a whole life that I know nothing about personally from experience. Just, you know.
You're about as white as mayo, so.
You can see my organs working. My skin is so purely white. But he was very well educated, having graduated college. He was a World War II vet, actually. And after getting out after being discharged, he was employed as a postal worker back when that meant something good, and he married for the first time and had 2 sons. After a divorce that gave his wife custody of the kids, he married Betty and moved to her hometown of Portsmouth.
And I do appreciate that there doesn't appear to be much of a fuss about like this aspect of his life, being remarried and starting a new life. Like that tends to be kind of like a social death sentence in a lot of ways, especially back then.
Which,
you know,
Go ahead.
I was going to say that like he and his ex seemed to end things somewhat amicably, but I don't recall reading much strife there beyond the standard toll of divorce. But, you know, there is the miscegenation angle that haunted the new marriage, and I'm sure we'll get to that.
Yeah, it is an issue. He did have a lot of guilt over the divorce and not having his sons with him, but from everything I read, he would have them up constantly, or as often as possible when his work would allow, and they loved Betty. His 2 sons adored Betty. And
then him having guilt is very Barney Hill coded.
Isn't it?
When you get to know who he is,
Isn't it, though? Also, those kids loved her cooking, so...
hell yeah.
Yeah. So, Barney got a job working at the Boston Post Office, which would have been great if he hadn't lived 60 fucking miles away in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. I mean, this poor motherfucker. Think about that. This guy had to drive 120 miles every single fucking day.
Yeah, no, that's insane.
Yeah, my dad had to drive from Vicksburg to Jackson for like 2 years, and we moved because he said it was too far. Not Barney, though. No, he never left Portsmouth.
Like when you first told me this, I was like, well, he really had a reason not to go home.
Yeah, there's a part of me that's like, I don't know, sometimes I read about Betty and I'm like, maybe I'd keep working too, but...
It takes me 45 minutes to drive 30 miles, but then again, this is Southern California traffic, and I'm sure there was less traffic on the road back then, but fuck, man, I had a panic attack when I first read that in the script.
I know, just the idea of driving that every, 6 days a week.
I only do it 4 days a week, and I want to kill myself.
Yeah, it's, I mean, fuck.
I mean, and 45 minutes to go 30 miles isn't the worst.
No. And this is also 60s speed limits.
So doing 55.
Cars. Yeah.
Well, and this is when the traffic's good here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Boston traffic, even back then, was fucking miserable.
Yeah.
So, anyway, the various...
High-speed rail, come on.
Yeah. Fuckers, I dare you cowards. Anyway, the various stresses in Barney's life, the drive, the divorce, marrying outside his race in the 1960s, and the incident, all led to health issues for Barney, specifically ulcers. Have either of you had ulcers? Because I have.
Not that I know of.
David?
I had a stress ulcer at 11.
Damn, son.
Yeah, I was a very anxious kid. It was likely tied to my anxiety around my mortality. As an 11-year-old, I was convinced I was going to die at any moment.
I was convinced I was going to die at 20, so I get that.
Yeah.
Just you get that in your head when you're a kid, you're like, I'm going to die at 20. That's it. That is a fact. I don't know why, but I had ulcers growing up too, like around that age. But God, how old was I when? I want to say it was like 10th or 11th grade. I had a bleeding ulcer that nearly killed me. Mike was actually there when they had to take me to the hospital.
Yeah.
So that just, to this day, it's still kind of fucking traumatic for me to think back on. So I've got nothing but sympathy for Barney on this. It is some shit to deal with. Now, the book refers to Barney as a handsome, well-dressed man and well-educated and various other qualifiers. And the vibe it gives off is one of justification. This is a book about a black man written for a white audience and desperately wants them to sympathize with him.
I can just imagine a line reading that he was, quote, quite eloquent.
It's in there, actually.
Fuck.
Yeah. It also describes another bit of coding. It says, Betty and Barney's relationship was one built on mutual interest. I'm like, I've seen photos of her. That is truth. I'm just saying, you remember Gladys Kravitz from Bewitched? Yeah, that's Betty Hill in a nutshell. No shade on her or him, but I do not find the woman attractive. So
I mean, of that era, a lot of people just looked like that. They aren't as image conscious as we are as a society, and using Korean skincare products, what have you.
They both look like your great aunt and uncle. And I don't mean great as in fantastic. I mean great as in your mom's aunt and uncle.
Yeah, this is back when someone who was in high school looked like they were in their 30s and not on TV in the TV sense, right? Yeah. Now,
unfortunately, Barney died in 1969 from a stroke.
I can't give a nice to that.
Yeah, I can't either. I'll just say we'll talk about that stroke a little bit when we get further in.
Him dying of a stroke, though, makes total sense.
Yeah.
This guy was a pot that was boiling and never quite
Yeah.
Well, it does finally boil over, and it's the most traumatic thing I've ever heard. But
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. We'll get into that more.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about Betty. Betty was born Eunice Elizabeth Barrett on June 28th, 1919. So, apparently is into older women.
Well, plus childhood of depression.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. She was also a divorcee. She was a college graduate and became a minor celebrity on campus for befriending the first black student. Like,
Love the brothers.
viciously defending this poor African-American girl.
Yeah.
Which, good. She was extremely vocal about race relations and seems to have run in her family. Like, her family has a history of being abolitionists. So that's pretty fucking impressive given, we're talking about the 1800s. The book makes a big deal of Betty's intelligence and inquisitive nature and the way it graded on adults constantly. And that trait seems to continue, as we'll see. Mike, I believe the term I used was nag, right?
I remember that word being bandied about somewhere at some time.
Yeah. Now, obviously, Betty was also heavily involved in social causes, and both of them were part of the NAACP. She was, as they say, one of the good ones.
He was invited to the cookout.
I want to be invited to the cookout, man. I want some good barbecue. Mike, do you want to go to the cookout?
I would go to any place that has, grilled meats.
That's true.
Heck, even if it's like, the dumpster behind the 7-Eleven, they got grilled meats there, I'm there.
Wow. So if you need to trap Mike,
Yes.
bear that in mind.
Like just a
Gas
giant
station hot dog.
A giant, it needs to be a little better than that.
Yeah,
but a giant version
bowling
of
alley hot dog, at least.
a giant version of one of those, cat traps, but just with some ribs or,
Maybe a hamburger.
if it's a good
good
grilled
burger.
hamburger,
Yeah.
just sitting there.
I feel like if I presented you a big bite from 7-Eleven and did not tell you it came from 7-Eleven, you would not be able to tell.
I don't agree with that at all, David. Mike,
I don't know. Maybe we just have better 7-Elevens here.
see, Mike is with cooked meat the way some people are about wines. Mike is a meat sommelier.
No, not quite,
Yeah,
but yes.
He swishes the chewed up
Yes.
meat in his mouth and spits it back out.
I stick half the hot dog in my mouth, swirl it around.
Man, you haven't lived until you've seen him take a slice of hamburger, put it in a wine glass, and swish it around and smell it. Anyway, so after the incident, Betty continued to speak out about UFOs and aliens and did the convention circuit until her death in 2004, still living in Portsmouth. Or Portsmouth.
Can you believe that there are people out there who just do that, like spend their entire lives in one place?
Yeah.
It's not due to like poverty or anything like that,
Yeah, I kind of thought that would be my life.
right? It's a way of life that is definitely a marker of a different time, and some of us may still be living it, but like it's very old school, right?
Yeah.
As for Betty, she did seem like a very kind person, and it seemed like outside of the stress of a fucking alien abduction, that they genuinely loved and supported one another, which you love to see.
Mm-hmm.
We often see so many cases like this where it can really tear families apart. Like Dad has been angrier and drinking more since that night.
Oh, we're thinking about the Amityville horror, are we? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I mean, like, my Uncle Edward grew up in that farm that, in the farmhouse that my grandfather built. And when he got married, he built a house next door and stayed there till he died. So,
people just did that, man. It's crazy.
Yeah. And there's a part of me that's like, God damn it, I've been robbed. Anyway, now that we have the couple out of the way, let's talk about the abduction. Now, I've kind of set the stage that Barney was working a bit of a stressful job, working for the post office, being involved with the NAACP, driving 120 miles 6 days a week, being married to Betty. I don't mean to keep throwing shade at Betty, but like she's one of those people that might get on my nerves kind of quick if we're on a road trip. This will not be a super detail by detail account of what happened. If you want that, go read the book, watch the movie. The narrative is a bit muddled due to factors that I hope will become apparent as we go on, because we are talking about missing time, dreams, hypnotic regression. The timeline's a little wonky. What I've done here is strip the story down to a relatable narrative. This next portion is what the Hills could consciously recall that night. This does not get into any of the regression stuff. So let's begin. For weeks, Barney's job, travel, lack of time with Betty, and his ulcers had been weighing on him. So he got a few days off from work. At the time, government job, that's not a problem. You could do that. So he and Betty borrowed a mini fridge for their car, loaded their dog in, not in the fridge, into the car. They put snacks in the fridge. Not the dog, which if anybody wants to look up what their dog's name was, I cannot remember for the life of me. I forgot to take note. But they set out on a road trip to Canada to see Niagara Falls. Slowly I turn, step by step, Now, first off, there was very little planning for this trip other than let's take a trip. They barely had any money with them for gas and meals and what have you. And they really just wanted to get the fuck away. Second, Mike, I know you were pretty incredulous of a portable fridge in 1961 at first.
I mean, you asked me, and I was like, I never heard of such a thing. So,
yeah.
Like,
are
we sure they didn't just mean a cooler chest and label it as a mini fridge, like some sort of New Hampshire quirk, like calling any
It's kind of
Coke?
It's kind of what I thought at first.
Yeah, but Mike looked it up, and I read about it in the book. It is an actual traveler's mini fridge with like a converter for the cigarette lighter.
Yeah, which I was wild. It's not something that was impossible then, but it's just something you don't think about.
Yeah, 1961. I mean, damn.
Yeah.
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 Probably was very expensive.
Yeah. So the plan was to basically go up to Canada, see Niagara Falls, and take a lazy trip back, but it was cut short due to an approaching hurricane. Basically, your classic nor'easter. Betty and Barney decided to try and beat the storm home, which they did succeed in doing. They should have gotten home between 3 and 4 a.m. on the 20th.
Like, imagine you're so stressed out that you decide to just get the fuck away and the weather itself turns against you.
Dude, I was planning a trip to the coast one day, one weekend, and then the weather came out and they're like, hurricane coming in. Yeah, that was Katrina. And the place I wanted to go got wiped off the face of the earth and never reopened.
Eesh.
So I kind of get this. I'm really vibing with Barney tonight. So,
Hey, Fred.
Anyway, the night of Tuesday, September 19th, 1961, was clear. The storm was still a ways off. The Hills had time. They had made it back to the U.S. with no problem, though Barney was very paranoid that they might give him problems due to his race. He was also concerned because he had a gun in the trunk, a pistol, and I probably don't need to go into how big of a problem that might have been if they had found it at the border.
I mean, I'd say that society has gotten a lot better with that sort of thing, where a black man can just exist with his Second Amendment rights, but sure doesn't feel like it these days.
Well, also, I think he's going into Canada.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's a whole nother can of
Man.
worms.
Look, the one thing I've learned over the years, do not fuck with Mounties. That's just a thing. You do not fuck with the mounted police.
And like, not in a good way. I always thought Mounties would be, kind of nice badasses. Turns out they're kind of shit.
Yeah, they're like, cops.
They're cops. ACAB.
They're funny dressed cops.
AMAB. All Mounties are bastards.
I was going to say, let's not do ACAB. All Canadians are not bastards. I got some friends up there.
I was just saying cops.
Yeah, no, that's fine. So as the Hills drove through Vermont and back into New Hampshire on their way home, Betty became aware of a light in the sky around 10 p.m. At first, she thought it was a star, but the movements were wrong. It moved against the motion of the sky. She speculated that it might be a meteor, but then the fucking thing changed direction to follow them.
A homing meteor.
I don't think that's a thing, buddy.
I mean, that's what I'm hearing now.
Yeah, okay, fair, but you're also, like, I don't know, have you eaten lately? How's your blood sugar? Anyway, at this point, Barney becomes extremely agitated. He continually tells Betty that they're being followed by a Piper Cub. And for those that don't know, that is a type of light aircraft.
Yeah.
Barney was very familiar with light aircraft because one of the things he would do is he would take his two sons at the airport and just watch light aircraft take off. They loved it. So he was kind of a bird watcher if planes were birds.
Well, they're called birds sometimes.
Yeah. So he knows his airplanes. He knows his aircraft. And he was in the military. So he's got some knowledge about this shit.
I will say, though, at distance, it's a little dicey.
Yeah,
but
sure. But
still, saying it's an aircraft, a light aircraft.
It's the smart bet.
Yeah. Being able to, tell a Piper from a Cessna from a Beechcraft, when it's far away and you just hear it, it's a little iffy, but still, it's in the right ballpark.
The thing is, this became a mantra for him during this whole incident, during the sighting.
Yeah.
Barney would just constantly be, "Shut up, it is a Piper Cub." Yeah, Barney, I think that's a UFO. It is a goddamn Piper Cub, Betty. It became an issue on the trip. So he also personally starts to think that this might be some kind of military craft trying to buzz them because it changed direction to follow them. But he doesn't mention this to Betty right off. This comes out later. Barney is a big one for not wanting to show his wife his fears.
Also, the thought process of, it's just the military trying to fuck with me. It's like so hard to get behind until you consider his existing agitation and anxiety.
Oh yeah,
in this whole situation. And also, from like what I read about Barney, is that he's definitely a bit of that stoic mindset. That old school worldview of masculinity. Which makes his later breakdown so goddamn haunting.
Yeah.
If you know someone who has that kind of old school stoicism of approaching the world to what a man is, seeing them break down is like rattling as an experience. It's haunting.
I think me and Mike are in that last generation where if you see your dad break down and cry, it's kind of a unnerving experience.
It's like, oh shit, something's seriously wrong.
Yeah, Mike?
I guess a bit, yeah.
Yeah. I know if my dad had like broken down and cried over something, I'd be like, "Oh fuck, I'm gonna take up cocaine or something now." I don't know. But Betty starts obsessing over this light that they see as it is following them. She keeps wondering aloud if they might be seeing a UFO, and Barney continues to tell her that it is an airplane and to shut up about UFOs. Now, I want to throw in here that Betty's sister once saw a UFO, and Betty has had a history of interest in the subject. She didn't talk about it with Barney, though, because he was both a skeptic and highly annoyed by the subject.
God damn it, Betty. I drive 120 miles a day. I don't give a shit about UFOs unless I can beam my ass to the post office.
Yeah, exactly. He ridiculed people that saw UFOs. Like, you fucking quack. Shit like that. He was belligerently skeptical. So, after several miles of arguing, it's a goddamn airplane.
It's a UFO, Barney.
Barney, it's a UFO up there. I don't know why. Actually, I know exactly why. If you listen to the tapes, she sounds like a sleepy version of Archie Bunker's wife, Edith. In the fucking UFO incident, nailed it. She sounds exactly... They're taking me onto the craft. I don't know why It is so fucking weird. Anyway, as I said, after several miles of arguing, the ship gets closer to them around... I'm going to try to pronounce this. Mount Pimigawasset? I'd have to refer to Ruth Ann for this, or our DM.
Yeah.
Kick Assatron. So,
yeah.
Anyway, that's in New Hampshire. It was originally called Indian Head, so you can kind of see why I went with the other name.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Barney pulls over to both get a better look at it with her binoculars.
I'll prove it's a goddamn Piper Cub.
And to let the dog have a walk. No, we're being followed by aliens. Make sure little Rexy takes a shit. So, when Betty looks, she just sees an oddly shaped craft with lights around it. Barney isn't that lucky, though. Barney takes the binoculars and he walks out into a field on the other side of the road, telling Betty to wait for him.
See, she couldn't see that the sign in the UFO's window, was offering frosty cold beers and antacids, but he saw it.
The only half of that interests me is the antacids.
Yeah.
Like, you see a UFO, there's a sign in the window that says Freomeprazole. Are you going? Because I'm going.
I don't know.
We've got those purple pills you need. They're berry flavored.
I think they need to sweeten the pot a little bit.
And we'll have
an aspirin.
What?
We'll throw an aspirin.
I just heard ass, and I'm like, wait, are we already getting into that now?
I was gonna say, what amount of probulation are we talking here?
The alien equivalent of a quickie.
All right, sure, why not?
Okay, so as Betty waits, she becomes concerned, like you do. It is a dark, rural part of Vermont, actually New Hampshire at this point, and getting close to midnight. She can't see her husband, who just marched off into a fucking field to look at what she thinks is a UFO. Of course, she's kind of freaking out.
Men are just kind of like that, though, aren't they? Just prone to wandering into a field because they see something? Or is it just me and Barney Hill?
No, I'd probably do it, Mike.
I mean, I guess.
We have no survival instincts.
I mean, Mike, come on. You remember that time we went out to watch a meteor shower out on the Trace?
Yeah.
Yeah, in my van. Down by the river. No.
Down by the river.
So Betty starts calling for Barney to come back to the car. Barney! But he doesn't. Like, she's screaming for him by the end. And just when she's about to climb out to go investigate, Barney comes running back, pops the trunk, grabs his gun, shoving it in his pocket, jumps back in the driver's seat, and the entire time he is screaming, "They're gonna take us."
Yeah. Putting myself into Betty's shoes here, this is fucking horrifying.
Oh, yeah.
Barney does not seem like the type of guy who would fall into hysterics like this, and the fact that he's now carrying a gun with him and he's driving is even more terrifying. Again, relatively quiet guy and not prone to what is essentially a paranoid outburst. Like, Kevin, just think of how freaked out you would be if Mike ran into the house with a rifle, screaming about the visitors trying to take you all.
Okay, honestly, my immediate reaction, I fucking told you, motherfucker!
He'd be like, how much have you drank?
Yeah, actually, yes. My first question is, how much rum is left? My second question is, how many times did I tell you this was going to happen? But the other thing is, in the regression tapes, at this point, Barney begins panicking under hypnosis and starts screaming, I have to get my gun. And apparently, he leapt out of the chair and tried to run straight through a plate glass window.
Oof.
To get away.
He really had to get that gun.
Yeah, so bear that in mind, that even in the regression, this freaked him the fuck out.
Mm-hmm.
So what Barney saw through the binoculars is a little freaky. The craft came down closer, and Barney took a good look at it. He said the thing was huge, like the width of a football field. Like the length of a football field, but in width. And as he watched, two fins extended from the sides, and there were red lights on the ends. And that really interested NICAP when he later reported that. So, just an interesting point. And there were windows on the front of the craft, which is not something you hear about often.
Yeah. Usually they don't have any sort of like immediate viewport. They tend to be kind of it's a solid metal situation.
Yeah, it either looks like a big glowing thing or it looks like the fucking ship from Flight of the Navigator or something.
Yeah.
So inside, Barney saw figures moving, and many of them were watching him, just lined up at the fucking windows, watching him. He would later describe them as somehow not human. At the center of the, let's call it the bridge, was a desk-like console with a single man sitting behind it. He made a hand motion, and everyone else on the bridge exited, and he stared into Barney's eyes. Now, at this distance, I don't know that Barney could actually see all this detail, but that's not really the big thing here. It's like that line from the Gorillaz song, you don't see me now because you don't see with your eyes, you perceive with your mind.
Russell.
Yeah.
Muscle. Yeah.
But percussion he provides. Yes.
Like, that detail of, like, not quite human is chilling because there's always been that kind of, like, theory that, like, humans have learned or have evolved to see things that are not quite human and pick them out.
Because, the uncanny valley theory thing.
Yeah.
And Barney also later would describe them as Nazi-like because of their uniforms and movements.
Goose-stepping morons.
Oh, hello, we are here to stick things up your bottom. Anyway, so Barney could see the person's eyes in his mind. Then a voice spoke to Barney in his head. He used the term thought transference because apparently he didn't know a term for telepathy. And the voice said, "Don't be frightened."
Fuck.
And as we all know, this is a perfect thing to say to someone in this situation to get him to go into a full-on fucking panic attack.
Yeah, you tell someone not to be not afraid. You're going to be afraid.
Yeah. So Barney finally gets the fucking willpower to pull the binoculars away from his eyes and apparently breaks the strap. And then he goes running for the trunk to get his gun. He jams it into his coat pocket, jumps in the car, and drives off like a madman. Barney would tell Betty later that he never once heard her shouting.
Fight or flight is a hell of a thing.
I guess so. I don't know. They did actually drive back out there, and interestingly enough, due to a quirk of the geography, they tested it, and he still couldn't fucking hear her from the road.
Huh.
So, interesting that they went back and tested that.
Yeah.
They actually went back on this trip multiple times.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah.
I was going to say, like, don't be afraid, right? Don't be frightened. Like, that's not a great way. Why not open with a joke?
Yeah. I'm thinking of how horrifying it would be if a gray came in my room and was like, I used to do drugs. I still do, but I used to as well. Don't Mitch Hedberg me, motherfucker.
Holy shit, a talking muffin.
Oh, God. What is the worst joke to get from an alien, guys?
Oh, man. Honestly, I think a knock-knock joke is just like the worst thing an alien can do. None of them are good.
Yeah. Okay, here's a good one. Mike. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Me.
Me who?
That's a point. It's like hovering towards you with its arms out with like a probe.
Yeah, but you didn't finish the joke.
Yeah, there's no finish. The finish for the joke is I'm going to ram this up your butt.
Mike's fucking in his bed, like, finish the fucking joke. Don't move on me here.
That would be a way to approach it.
Don't comedy block me here.
Blue balls, gray nuts.
So Barney starts driving at breakneck speed on a narrow and twisting mountain road in fear of his life and in fear of his wife's life. I can't help but think of like Old Port Gibson Road, Mike.
Yeah.
Like taking that at speed on a motorcycle. It in the dark. So the ship seems to be chasing them and zipping all over the damn sky around them. And Betty is still looking for this thing, wanting to get a better look at it. But it seemed to disappear. And then it was directly over them, because they could tell from the light. Then they hear a rhythmic, metallic beeping. And at this point, Betty says the weirdest damn thing. I wish I knew Morse code. I don't know why I find that so weird, man. It just is, you know?
Well, I guess when they mentioned rhythmic beeping was like in a consistent singular pattern.
Yes.
Or was the beeping varied and sounding communicative?
It was a beep, beep.
Okay, so
beep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because if it was not that, like the fact that they could have sounded communicative would have been freaky as hell.
Oh yeah. No, the whole situation is strange.
Yeah, Betty, Morse code does not work that way.
Yeah, no, Betty, come on, you're smarter than this. Everyone says you're smarter than this. Oh, it's Morse code, and it just keeps saying yo over and over. Anyway, both of them get this sort of weird mental fog thing. Like, it gets difficult to concentrate and think.
Mm-hmm.
They then become aware of another series of electronic beeps. And then the next sign they see after that is for Concord.
Mm.
Concord is 2.5 hours south of where they last heard the beeps.
Mm.
They had absolutely no memory of the drive there. And the rest of the ride home goes quietly. And the only mention to what happened that either of them make is from Betty, when she just says to Barney out of the blue, well, do you believe in UFOs now?
Like, incredibly ill-timed, but so incredibly fucking funny. One of those details that feels like something out of a film, but it also feels like very real too.
And yeah, and it's like they just snap out of like this weird trance, and she's like, do you believe in UFOs now? Shut the fuck up, Betty.
God damn it, Betty.
What the fuck, woman? The hell did I marry you?
I wish I knew Morse code.
Fucking moron. Hey, she's not a moron. Just this is a highly strange incident, and I can understand the confusion, sorta.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So on returning home, several strange things occurred. So first, it was nearly 6 a.m., which is at least 2 hours later than they had planned, and they had no memory of what happened in those 2 hours.
Well, running from sky demons eats up time.
Okay, fair. Not going to split hairs over that. Second, Betty didn't want any of the clothes they had with them in the house, so Barney left them by the back door for the rest of the day. Third, Betty never wore the dress from that night again. She put it in a dress bag and put it in the back of the closet and kept it there. Fourth, the top of Barney's shoes, and these were his best shoes, were horribly scraped up as if they'd been dragged. Like, there was no polishing these scratches out. He just had to get new shoes. Fifth, Barney kept looking at the sky all day, waiting for something terrible to happen. He had a severe and long-lasting anxiety about something.
Again, sky demons.
You and these sky demons, man. And lastly, Betty discovered round buff marks where, like, you know, the shine of the car where the polish was gone on the trunk. When she called her sister to tell her about all this, her sister spoke to her neighbor, who happened to be a fucking physicist. And he said, run a compass over the spots to see if they're magnetic from radiation or something. And at this point, Barney became extremely uncooperative with Betty and belligerent.
It's a Piper Cub.
It's not a compass, it's a Piper Cub. He didn't want to think about it, he didn't want to hear about it, and he actively refused to help her with her experiment. And Betty, of course, would not let it drop. She took the thing out there, ran the compass over it, and the needle went crazy on those 3 spots.
Oh, and in Barney's, from Barney's point of view, not to speak of the dead, speak for the dead, but like, this whole incident was also a moment of weakness for a guy like him who had that kind of old school masculinity, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She'd seen him as potentially like weak in his mind. I doubt she saw his panic that way.
No.
She loved him, right?
Yeah.
But given his worldview, he might have traumatized himself by letting that stoicism mask slip, and he didn't want to deal with the repercussions of that. Just dwelling on everything that happened was just continually like not letting that wound or that weakness kind of heal.
Right. And that tracks from everything we learn about Barney in doing this research. Barney, she finally convinced him to go out and check after that with the compass, and he went out and checked, and she was like, well, did it move? Yeah, it moved, but it doesn't mean anything. Screw this. So, and then the thing is, like, 2 or 3 days later, the buff marks just kind of disappeared. Weird. Yeah. You would think that wouldn't be a thing. So, over the next week, Betty would have a series of horrifying...
Well, to be fair, buffs are temporary.
Oh, fuck off. Oh, my fucking God. Jesus Christ, I can't believe you did that. Look what you've done. Anyway.
I've ruined the podcast.
It's over. I'm walking. Anyway, over the next week, Betty would have a series of horrifying nightmares that she refused to discuss with Barney due to health concerns.
He kept shrieking it's a Piper Cub to her for like a week straight.
Now, she would write these dreams down, though, and keep them.
Well, what's the opposite of a dream journal?
A nightmare journal?
There you go.
Now, these dreams, they were disjointed, and later, after the hypnotic regression, when she went through, she could reassemble the dreams into a timeline. So that's kind of interesting. Now, Barney would insist that they not discuss what happened with anyone, because the last thing they needed was to be oddballs for another fucking reason.
Again, incredibly sad to hear, but I can understand where he's coming from.
Yeah, you're already a mixed-race couple in 1961, even if you're in New Hampshire, and the last thing you need is, we saw a UFO. So, the incident caused Barney two major health concerns. The first is a perfect circle of warts that grew around his genitals.
Whoa.
Yes, he had them removed. No, they had nothing to do with Maynard James Keenan.
Nice.
I was going to say, them. You got some of that reticulin VD.
Yeah. Yeah, actually. That's kind of a theory there. Second, Barney's anxiety went through the goddamn roof, and his
It's a Viper Cub!
I kind of want a shirt of that now.
Armageddon.
It's a Viper Cub. Anyway, and his ulcers returned with a vengeance.
Ulcers 2 with a vengeance.
Like, Barney had multiple freakouts at social gatherings.
Oh,
He's
boy.
freaking out, man.
So he ended up having to take 6 months off of work.
You don't want to be at the key party where the, the one guy just starts freaking out.
Screaming about Piper Cubs.
Dude, can we stop and, mourn for the fact that a man no longer can take 6 months off of work?
Literally, in the outline, the next thing, Mike, is imagine that. Being able to take 6 months off due to anxiety, still getting paid, and still having a job.
I mean, we can get back to that, I have a pamphlet just about that sort of thing with the guillotine on the cover.
I was going to say, I have metaphorical pitchforks and,
Torches.
Torches, yes.
Look, you need some kerosene, some glass bottles, some rags, and a lighter, and that takes care of a lot of it for you.
I prefer some gasoline
In
and
Minecraft.
gasoline.
No, actually,
styrofoam.
they've caught on to that. So this is in
So this is now our
Roblox.
Our fan fiction.
Yeah, it's in our
we're on
fanfic.
Roblox now.
Yeah, I'm writing a slash fic about millionaires.
Like slashing them
Yeah.
with the guillotine.
No, it's a slasher fic. It's completely different.
I'm writing a novel about the overthrow of certain governments.
Yeah, it's not
So
called...
genital warts, huh?
Yeah. So anyway, the Hills did eventually report this to NICAP, which is the National Investigations Committee on Aerial Phenomenon, and they were interviewed about it. Now, before we talk about that interview, Barney did not mention the dudes in the ship that he saw. He felt that this whole experience was a bit too far-fetched already.
Like, I'm legitimately surprised he agreed to report it, but I also wonder if maybe it was a thing, like a Betty thing, and that the cat was already out of the bag, like she had made the call, and he's like, fine, I'll fucking talk to him.
Yeah, and the thing is, when he did finally talk to him, he found them to be very professional, and it kind of put his mind at rest on the report. So, he was glad he did it. Betty thought they were rude, but Barney is like, well, these are some very well put together men.
I imagine Barney's voice kind of like Hank Hill's.
I've heard his voice, and it's very normal, and he just talks sort of like this the entire time, which is not how James Earl Jones sounds at all in that movie. Let me tell you something.
James Earl Jones sounds like a living god.
Yes. I can't believe you talked me into this, Betty. It's a whole other vibe, man. But he, as far as performance, he nails Barney Hill.
Oh, yeah.
So the two men from NICAP that showed up to interview them asked them a lot of very detailed questions and scientific questions over about 5 hours in the Hills home. Like, they missed 2 meals doing this.
Or did the Hills, make something... I feel like Betty would have done that. They're like, can I get you boys a sandwich?
Oh, no. They were too wrapped up in this. It specifically says in the book they forgot to eat.
Damn.
Now, for instance, they asked, were there nitrates in the car? Now, Barney did in fact have some nitrate-rich fertilizer in his car for the banana tree in his living room. They never explained why, but they said that people see UFOs around nitrates, and that's kind of news to me after 40 years of reading about this shit.
I'm still trying to come to terms with the banana tree in the living room.
Yeah, he had a potted banana tree in the living room. Go figure.
You can do that. You can do that.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. And he didn't want to take the fertilizer out because he was like, that'll take too much time.
Yeah.
So anyway, the NICAP report listed the hills as believable and reliable witnesses because they were.
Mm.
They're very down to earth. They're like, we saw a weird thing.
This man is no nonsense.
Yes. Now, one last thing about this. While driving along one night, Betty and Barney came across some road work, and there was a slow sign out, And something about the situation set Betty off. It apparently reminded her of one of her dreams, which we'll talk about screen memories later. She started screaming for Barney to not stop the car. They're gonna get us. She screamed for him to speed up. Don't slow down, Barney. And then she tried to open the fucking car door and just jump out at speed. Now, Barney, to his credit, managed to keep his panicking wife from leaping out of a moving car and sped through the construction without incident. All of this.
Fast Die Young, apparently.
Yeah. It's like, I didn't know you were from James Dean's family. What the fuck?
Faster, Betty. Kill.
Oh, God. Now, all of this was what made the two decide to go to a psychiatrist for hypnotic regression, finally.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Okay, so let's take a quick break. And when we come back, we can talk about the fucking nightmare this uncovers. So we'll be right back after this.
BRB, gonna look for a banana tree for my apartment.
Shit.
Hey, man, what's got you off in your phone there?
Oh, just going through all the funny Mothman memes and supernatural shit posts I've been wanting to share. I just don't know where to put the posts yet.
Don't you know about the Supernatural Selection Discord?
We have a Discord?
Yeah, for years, dude. Where have you been?
Can people chat with the hosts and get previews of upcoming episodes and generally post funny shit as much as they want with other listeners?
I mean, if that's your bag. I mean, personally, I wouldn't do that, but there are even live streaming events for the shows there, too. You've been in a few. How do you not know this stuff?
It must have been my doppelganger. How do I get into the Discord?
It's easy. Just visit discord.supernaturalselectionpod.com. Now say that 3 times fast.
Well, that's perfect. Now I can share 3 terabytes of Hollow Earth memes. Get it? Terabytes.
Never mind. Forget I said anything. Just don't do that. You should definitely not visit discord.supernaturalselectionpod.com to join the Discord. We don't want you there.
Too late. I'm already posting my alien abduction fan fiction with the general chat.
Join the hosts and listeners of Supernatural Selection on the official Discord. Just visit discord.supernaturalselectionpod.com.
And we're back. So, guys, how are we feeling about the hills so far? Mike?
I think the hills are, in fact, alive with the sound of music.
I really didn't think there was another joke you could pull with that name. And I am pleasantly surprised.
You underestimate my powers.
Nice. David?
I mean, a lot's going on with the sociology in the story that it adds a lot of clarity and confusion to the events.
Clarity and confusion.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's weird, but yeah, there's some spots where it's like, no, this makes sense, but there's other spots where it's like, no, now I'm kind of lost a little bit. getting a sense of who these two were, their different views informed by the time and the intensity of the experience helps clarify some aspects of the story while leaving questions in others, like, the buff circles on the trunk, right?
Yeah.
Or like, hey, the nitrates thing, which that's news to me as well.
Yeah. I've been researching this shit for decades, and that's the first I fucking heard of it was from that book.
So what does that mean about hot dogs though? Because they have nitrates.
Oh,
to be fair, yeah, we should look into the pattern of UFOs over like 7-Elevens or Costco's.
Mm-hmm. That's a good idea.
But like, for example, another part of this like sociological angle, like Barney's reluctance to speak on this makes so much sense given the circumstances and the kind of man he was.
Yeah.
But also, you can just buy banana trees for your house.
Apparently.
I mean,
I did not know that.
I remember in Louisiana, I knew somebody with a banana tree.
And this is in New Hampshire, man.
I think that the problem with banana trees is that they're, you think, oh, I'm going to have bananas, but bananas are, they don't just grow bananas on trees.
Yeah. Wait. Yes, they do. God damn it.
No, it's
not on one in your house.
Yeah.
They have to be much bigger.
It takes a long time, and
and then you got to find a tally man.
Yeah, because they got to tally your bananas.
Yeah, mighty deadly black tarantula. I mean, fuck. There's a whole.
I heard it takes all day.
Yeah.
Yep, pretty much.
But I work all night on a drink of rum.
You do. That's the great part. So before I launch back into this case, I need to really stress something important going forward here. Okay. What we're going to talk about coming up is going to sound like old hat. It's going to sound like every other alien abduction case we have ever talked about, except the Appalachian woman snapping Zip Norp's neck, of course. And it's true. This sounds very standard. But what you have to understand is that's because the Hills abduction is the standard. This is the first time this happened.
Yeah.
Before this, it was all space brothers and green elves handing out pancakes. This is the first real modern abduction. It's also the first one from credible people.
It also kind of lines up quite well with the mounting paranoia of the 60s and like the elements of distrust in the world around us that would really begin to emerge that decade and into the 70s. That space age optimism giving, like going to shit and becoming something much darker. You know what I mean?
It is showing a bit of a turn in society, and I don't know. I also have this theory that grays show up because we're having, memories of doctors from hospitals and stuff. Anyway, I wanted to get that out there so we can all bear that in mind on how foundational this is for the topics we discuss on this show.
Yeah.
So, the Hills, on the advice of several friends from the Unitarian Church they attend, made an appointment for hypnotic regression with Dr. Benjamin Simon in 1963, 2 years after the incident.
It totally tracks our Unitarians, doesn't it?
It does. That church is the most welcoming group I've ever heard of. Anyway, now, the Hills were doing this not so they could remember a UFO incident. They were doing this so they could try and move on with their lives. Now Barney especially, didn't really care if it was a UFO at all, or a military aircraft, or a bunch of fucking pelicans. Barney just wanted to go back to work, and Betty wanted their marriage to go back to the way it was.
With Barney gone most of the day, 5 days a week.
Well, there were milkmen back then.
Oh, jeez.
Anyway, no, but I really believe these two were in love.
Yeah.
Anyway. Dr. Simon had his own reasons for taking this case. Yes, he wanted to help a couple that was clearly in mental anguish, but he was also a skeptic. He wanted to get to the bottom of this mess and actually disprove UFOs. So, Mike.
Yeah.
No, I was saying so, like Mike.
Oh.
Now, I put in the notes, pause for laughter and or show-ending fight. So, so, now that we have everyone's mindset going into this, let's talk about those sessions. I learned a very valuable lesson from our communion episode. Never play the goddamn regression tapes. This is, for the most part, a comedy podcast about things that I find interesting. And nothing ruins comedy like hearing grown people starting to scream in terror and trying to jump out a fucking window. So let's just talk about it instead.
Now, what if you heard the footsteps and they were squeaky like clown shoes? Would that make it funny?
I don't know. I'm not going to put those sound effects in.
We'll have to try.
Yeah, I don't know, but somebody's at the door. Secretariat. Anyway, the following account is, for the most part, exactly the same from both Betty and Barney, with no discussion beforehand. Allegedly.
Well, I mean, they had 2 years.
Yeah. Again.
Stewing on this, so.
Yeah. But, again, it was 2 years with a dude that was like, I'm not fucking talking about this, Betty.
It was a Piper Cup.
Still screaming about the Piper Cup. Now, Barney never wanted anything to do with this shit. And Betty was bulldog about it. Pause for joke about her face. But she respected Barney's wishes. And he was not doing well. Also, if this experience is the alien abduction sketch from Saturday Night Live, then Barney is the Kate McKinnon character in this situation. And I'm going to go into details on why that is soon.
That sketch is so good. But, Barney was just, like, fed up. He'd probably been embarrassed by the whole incident and just wanted to move on. So agreeing to this process to hopefully give Betty peace of mind would have been his stated excuse. Though, like, subconsciously, he probably knew that all this had deeply, deeply fucked him up.
Oh, he knew.
But again, he's also the type of man to push those feelings down or position his choices as practical for Betty's benefit. So, like, maybe deep down, secretly, he was thankful that this was happening.
Like, in the regression, you hear him say, I am frightened, but I don't want to let Betty know that I am frightened. And I'm like, that is interesting as hell.
Yeah.
It's one of those statements from his sessions that just sticks in my head. So let's head back to September 19th through the 20th, 1961 to, when did I say this was? 65, several years later.
Yeah.
After the beeps, Betty and Barney both felt numb. And something told Barney to pull off the road by some woods, where they are approached by 5 or 6 men. These men are all gray-skinned with large but narrow eyes, with dark irises and large pupils. They have no ears, they have slits for mouths, and just holes for nostrils. Now, they communicated with the hills telepathically, but when they spoke, it sounded like mumble rappers. Yeah, like that.
Oh, so like that cat just goes, nyah, 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 nyah.
Yeah, but more mumbly. They had no hair, and they were all wearing blue uniforms that again reminded Barney of Nazis. Part of that also comes from their unified and precise movements. Now, this might be the first time anything resembling a gray has entered the lore of ufology. We may be looking at the very first report of a gray.
Like, again, they were called little green men dismissively for a long time, but you get that trope based on the ubiquity of the reference. So, like, once this floodgate opens with them being actually, like, gray-skinned and other people start seeing that, that's when that switchover happens.
It is, which we'll talk a little bit about that at the end of this episode, because there's some things there that we need to talk about. Now, they were physically removed from the car by these entities and escorted into the woods to the landed ship. Now, in the regression, neither of them enjoyed being touched by these things. Betty was being led along by the arm by the leader guy who kept telling her to be cool and that they wouldn't even remember any of this.
It's cool. Be cool. We're cool here.
Again, we keep coming back to aliens being like, be cool, man, be cool. Now, Barney... Now, again, Betty was being led along and she was walking. Barney was dead weight. And 3 of the aliens had his arms over their shoulders, and they were dragging him, accounting for the damaged shoes. Now, obviously, this portion comes from Betty, because she remembered looking back at Barney during this, and they had to reassure her that he's all right. Now, on board the ship, Betty and Barney were separated so they could be examined in separate rooms. I guess it was like they didn't want the data contaminated or something. I don't know. So Betty was undressed and given a general medical exam. Hair was cut and placed in a baggie. Skin was scraped from the back of her neck and placed in a baggie.
I'm just picturing these little gray assholes with like little sandwich baggies, and it's the funniest thing. You know, zip knock with a Ziploc. Just
That's terrible. But no, they basically took a bunch of like cell samples from parts of her. And this next part is kind of harrowing. This giant goddamn needle, like a foot long, gets pulled out by the doctor guy. And Betty started screaming in the regression. They told her that it wouldn't hurt, and then they stuck it in her navel. All the way in. And it hurt badly.
I mean, it seems like it would hurt.
Yeah. And it is gut-wrenching. She is sobbing while she's talking about this. You do not want to hear the tapes of this. The leader then waves his hand over Betty's eyes, and the pain just vanishes. And then they kind of swish the needle around in there, you know, draw something out of her into the syringe, and then pull the needle out and put it away. Now, when she asked them what the hell that was for, they said it was a pregnancy test. Also, if she had been pregnant before, she sure as fuck wasn't after that. They fucking stirred that baby if it had been there. Now, also, the doctor was described by Betty as kind. Like he never came off as clinical or uncaring. And he was very friendly with her, which I find that very fascinating.
The kind thing to do would have been to fucking do the wavy thing before jamming her with the giant needle.
Okay,
before you make fetus soup.
Just like, seriously, I don't know. Like, I don't know if this is the A-team running this one. I think this may be like the trainee ship. I don't know.
These are just the drunk college aliens.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Now, Betty was then shown to a navigation room. They gave her a little tour of the ship.
Oh.
And she got to talk to the leader guy about a giant holographic star map showing trade routes and colonies and shit. Now, she described it not as a hologram. She described it as a large sheet of material that was flat, but the pictures were in 3 dimensions and moved when she moved. You know, she could see around them. Mm-hmm. She didn't really know words like hologram back in '63 when they did this regression.
If only Arthur C. Clarke had been abducted and injected with a giant needle.
Oh, Mike, yeah. It's a pregnancy test. Oh, son, I've got some news for you. So she asked one of them if she could take some proof back. And they handed her a book with weird-ass writing on it and a hard leather cover. But the leader took the book back before she left. He said that their superiors had axed that idea. And Betty was highly upset by this and the regression. She was crying because she said, no one is going to believe me without this. That's my proof. And I'm going to be honest, as far as abductions go, that woman knew what she was about, because I think, like, everybody should do that when they're abducted.
Yeah. Can I have a t-shirt at least?
You got a commemorative spoon, maybe?
Can you validate?
Also, I like that. Oh, yeah, go ahead, Mike.
Can you validate my parking?
Something. Yeah.
Also, I like that the upper management came in and were like, you gave her a fucking book, you goddamn idiot?
Again.
What are you doing?
Again, not the A squad on this ship. So Betty's whole experience sounded kind of nightmarish in a lot of ways, but she seemed like she took away some positive experiences in it. She had positive things to say about the leader and the people, and she was always like, I think we had a blessed experience here. Not in a religious sense, but like, this was not a bad thing.
Like, I'd like to read her Yelp review.
Oh, God.
Unbearable, agonizing pain in the abdomen, but the strange alien Mangala seemed pretty chill. 3 stars.
Oh, God, that's like reviewing the fucking hot dog stand at Auschwitz. You just don't do it.
No.
All right.
Oh, man.
Let's talk about Barney now.
Oh, boy.
Because Barney was taken to a separate room and stripped. And he was given an exam by another doctor type. And his experience was much more clinical. Like, again, Kate McKinnon. They're just sitting there slapping his tit. I don't know. Now, they discovered that Barney had dentures. He had false teeth. So they pulled the dentures out of his mouth and started examining them thoroughly and just passing them around. They're all like, holy shit, his teeth came out.
I wasn't aware it was dentures. I thought he had, like, replacement teeth or something.
Oh, you thought
I just pictured them, like, ripping the teeth out, playing with them, like playing dice.
No.
And, like, did he report any pain from that the days after?
Nope, just his nutsack, just around the nutsack, buddy.
Yeah, because I was picturing something much different.
No, he had dentures.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not nearly that horrifying, but still, it's kind of humiliating when the sky demons pull your dentures out and start playing keep away with them.
Oh no, they start like clicking them together like click, click, click.
Hello, I am a puppet. Yeah. God. So Barney,
look at me, I'm a human.
Oh God, I'm just picturing one of them shoving him in his tiny little face hole and just running around chasing everybody else like Pac-Man, just making waka waka noises. Oh God. Anyway, so do you need a minute?
I'm sorry that we've taken this very horrible circumstance and turned it into the funniest fucking thing I've ever heard of.
Well, it's the one thing.
It's like, oh, the turtles got my teeth.
It's one of those things where it's so nightmarish you have to kind of find the humor in it because goddamn this poor dude.
Oh.
So after they played Pac-Man with him, a large circular funnel was placed on his junk.
Oh yeah.
All right, look. Let's just go ahead and call this thing what it is. This is the milking machine. Because that is exactly what it does. The funnel also matches up with the positioning of the genital warts he developed after the abduction.
Sounds like they didn't clean this thing thoroughly enough.
Yeah, I was going to say they need to disinfect the milking machine a little bit better.
That is the theory. That is the only theory I have ever heard about this goddamn thing, dude. Now then, Barney is made to orgasm. A lot.
Woo, boy.
He is thoroughly milked.
Jesus. No teeth, All of his cum's gone.
Some people pay a lot of money for this treatment.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're welcome to do it. So afterward, they stick his teeth back in his mouth, dress him up again, and send him back out where he's reunited with Betty, who's just like, oh my God, Bonnie was so lucky. I'm not joking. She's like, Bonnie, no one's going to believe how wonderful this was. And he's just like, what?
I need a fucking cigarette. Or a 3.
So, just like, he's
my balls hurt.
He's the fucking spy meme with just a mouthful of cigarettes.
Yeah.
So, Betty and Barney are taken back to the car where the leader asks, hey, you want to watch the ship take off? And Betty very enthusiastically is like, yes, please. And Barney's just in his own fucking world.
Post-nut disclarity.
I didn't know you could have post-nut disassociation.
Yeah. Well, look, when you come that much, yeah.
So,
Why not?
Yeah, so the leader's like, sure, okay, but he reminds her that she's not going to remember this. To which Betty promises him, I'm going to remember one day. I don't know how, but I will remember this.
I have a particular set of skills.
And that
That's
skill,
called the Dream Journal.
And that skill is I am a nag. I don't know who you are, but I will find you and I will come for you. Literally. Anyway, as they watch the ship take off, Betty remarks something along the lines of, oh, Bonnie, no one's gonna believe this. And I just imagine Barney giving her this look like, bitch, I got raped by a vacuum cleaner and they played with my teeth. Fuck off.
Oh man.
This is two wholly different ways of dealing with this that they've got. So they begin driving again, and once they're near Concord, the beeps sound again, and consensus reality steps the fuck back in. So 2 things happen from these regressions for the Hills. The first one being they felt better having that missed time filled. They were able to resume their social lives, and Barney was able to return to work. For another thing, Barney did not doubt for a moment that the abduction happened after that.
Turns out they put my teeth back the wrong way.
I've been using them upside down the whole time.
But
I
Barney,
like it.
You take them out every night. How are they still upside down?
I just got used to the shit.
Trauma.
So Dr. Simon, I don't want to say he became a believer, but he believed that something happened to these two.
Yeah, it's the same thing when we covered communion. I think the consensus was something incredibly traumatic had happened here. Like, we can't agree on what it was, but no, this man was genuinely fucked up by this.
Absolutely. You know, and I feel like, I don't know, in a weird way, I feel like Barney got it worse than Whitley.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that.
And at least it only happened the once.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Dr. Simon wrote about the case, of course, in a medical journal due to the fucking unique nature of it.
Right.
And the conclusion he came to professionally was that it was a, quote, singular psychological aberration.
It's a Piper Cub.
Which is, like, this is a fucked up thing that happened to these two, and I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
He just found the medical way of saying that.
Yeah.
Now, the Hills would talk about the abduction, finally, with friends and family after that. But they sought no attention from it. Because why the fuck would they?
I mean, getting milked by a poorly maintained Orgasmatron 9000 isn't something to brag about generally.
No.
Have I mentioned the warts? Yeah.
And it was industrial grade, too. It wasn't like the premium model.
Oh, yeah. No, I imagine this thing was run by a fucking, like, diesel engine or something.
The edges were not, like, padded.
No.
It was straight up metal.
Yeah, metal and or plastic, yes.
It didn't have fluid detection, so it didn't know to stop. It just kept sucking.
I don't have any bones left, Betty. I'm sorry. So, in 1965, 2 years after the regression, and the Hills have finally been able to move on for the most part, they had done some speaking about it at the Unitarian Church. So, in 1965, the Boston Traveler, a newspaper, began work on an article about the Hills. And while their friends and family spoke freely about the abduction, the Hills not only refused to take part, they asked, in fact, insisted that the paper drop the article altogether. They did not want public attention from this fucking incident.
Yeah.
Who wants in the newspaper African-American man with white wife milked by aliens? It's just not a thing you want to see about yourself. Well, on October 25th, 1965, the Boston Traveler ran a front-page story on the Hills titled, UFO Chiller, Did They Seize Couple?
Ugh.
The journalist that wrote the article, John Luttrell, had gotten a hold of notes and recordings of the Hills that were made in confidence and used them as the basis for the article. Now, can I get a round of boos here for this motherfucker?
Boo.
Yeah, Mike, give me a boo.
Boo.
Thank you.
But like, also, how? Were these things stolen, or did, like, Dr. Simon do something, like, highly unethical?
I don't think Dr. Simon did anything unethical. I think his staff may have done something unethical for a few bucks under the table.
Yeah.
Or, you know, maybe they knew somebody that had access to some medical journals. I don't know, but it was not a flattering article. It had various details wrong. It was very sensational, and it painted Barney and Betty as excitable kooks. The article was then picked up by the UPI and gained international attention.
Ugh, you hate to see it.
Yeah, again, the Hills did not want this.
Yeah.
In an attempt to get ahead of the article and to control the negative and the narrative and the inevitable ridicule, they worked with John Fuller in 1966 on The Interrupted Journey as a way to get the facts of the matter out there correctly and overshadow the ridicule of the Boston Traveler article. Now, the book was a bestseller with multiple printings, and after having read it, I can see why. It is a very well-written book. It is very respectful to both of them. And it also doesn't shy away from the fact that we don't know what happened.
Yeah.
Could have been aliens, though. Now, the book also includes a sketch Betty made from memory of the star map she was shown. And we'll have more on that in a minute.
But no drawing of the fairy ring of, like, genital warts?
You know what? I would like to offer a posthumous thank you to Mr. Barney Hill for not drawing his ding-dong warts for the book. So
I don't get it. This thing is like a fold-out. It's just a tree?
Yeah, no, it's actually like a Mad Magazine fold-out. You put it together. It's actually like a rocket ship, but it looks like a penis. Anyway, as I said before, Barney died in 1969 from a stroke, which, from everything I've heard, Barney seemed to have some vague notion it was coming. He mentioned to Betty several times, if I die from a stroke or something, I want you to try to be happy with your life. I want you to move on. Which, if you're going to call your own death, maybe something better. Like, Betty, if I happen to die from being smothered to death by supermodels, I want you to move on with your life. You know,
Betty, if I die by headbutting a school bus.
Yeah. Just if you're going to, like, call that shot, make it a good one.
Yeah.
But it's also one of those things where I wonder if it had happened today, maybe something could have been done. I don't know. Like if they had caught the hemorrhage early.
Yeah, I mean, this guy was such like high stress level. It's not shocking.
No.
Like he died of a stroke and like at a fairly young age.
Oh,
yeah. How old was he?
He was born in 22, so he was like 40 something.
That's not that old.
No, it's not.
Yeah. And again, like it makes sense for him.
Yeah. And the thing is, I imagine medical science at the time was like, well, you could stop eating salt, meat, and butter, but you're a man, so keep going, I guess.
I feel bad about my fairy ring joke just before this.
I can imagine you do. But
I was in the outline. I'm like, okay, yeah, no, this is a funny joke here, and then immediately Barney's death is the header for that section. I'm like, shit.
I imagine this. I just imagine like the doctor's like, sorry, Mr. Hill, here, have 5 cigarettes. So, all right. So the star map that Betty drew from memory, which I've seen the drawing. It is not professionally made. It's as accurate as she could make it. It is a complicated subject for someone with my brain because it is me. I'm not saying it's a complicated subject. It is a complicated subject for me to try to explain to you. So here's what Wikipedia had to say about it. In 1968, Marjorie Fish of Oak Harbor, Ohio, read Fuller's book, The Interrupted Journey. Fish was an elementary school teacher and an amateur astronomer. Intrigued by the, quote, star map, Fish wondered if it might be decipherable to determine which star system the UFO came from. Assuming that one of the 15 stars on the map must represent Earth's sun, Fish constructed a 3-dimensional model of nearby sun-like stars, i.e. stars deemed to have characteristics that could support life such as that found on Earth, using thread and beads, basing stellar distance on those published in the 1969 Gliese Star Catalog. Studying thousands of vantage points over several years, the only one that seemed to match the Hill map was from the viewpoint of the double star system of Zeta Reticuli, about 39 light-years from Earth.
Now, on the one hand, I know that what this is talking about, and I get the process, but on the other hand, I have no patience for this sort of calculation at all, and this is why I'm an English major.
It does have the feeling of like Richard Dreyfuss.
Potatoes.
So here's a problem I have with this.
Oh, we're going to go over the problems, but please tell me.
I was going to say, if you showed me a star map and then like 3 or 4 days later asked me to recreate it, I wouldn't be able to.
No.
It would be wildly different than what I was shown.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Now, here's the funny thing, Mike. If you had done this to me in 4th or 5th grade, I could have done it.
Yeah.
But now, God, no. In my 40s, I couldn't have done it. Now, the article continues. I don't want you to think I just stopped there with mystery. Also, this is why we say the Greys are from Zeta Reticuli. This is where it comes from. This is why in Fallout they're called the Zetans.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, Fish sent her analysis to Webb, which I don't know if it means James Webb or not. Now, agreeing with her conclusions, Webb sent the map to Terence Dickinson, editor of the magazine Astronomy. Dickinson did not endorse Fish and Webb's conclusions, which fish web. It's like a fishnet. Anyway, he did not endorse her conclusions, but for the first time in the journal's history, Astronomy invited comments and debate on a UFO report, starting with an opening article in the December 1974 issue. For about a year afterward, the opinions page of Astronomy carried arguments for and against Fish's star map. Notable was an argument made by Carl Sagan and Stephen Sauter, arguing that the, quote, star map was little more than a random alignment of chance points. In an episode of Cosmos in 1980, Sagan demonstrated that without the lines drawn in the map, the hill map bore no resemblance to the real-life map. In contrast, those more favorable to the map, such as David Saunders, a statistician who had been on the Condon UFO study, disagreed. Saunders claimed that a match among 16 stars of the specific spectral type among the 1,000 stars nearest the Sun is, quote, at least 1,000 to 1 against. In the early 1990s, the European Hipparcos high-precision parallax collecting satellite mission, which measured the distance to more than 100,000 stars around the Sun more accurately than had previously been done, showed that some of the stars in Fish's interpretation of the map were in fact much further away than previously thought. Other research revealed that some stars, counted by Fisher as likely to host life, would have had to be excluded by her own criteria, while some other stars, which had been discounted by Fish, have been recognized as potential abodes for life. Results such as these led Fish herself to reject her hypothesis in a public statement. So she recanted.
Yeah.
Now, a quick note that Dr. Sagan's rebuttal on Cosmos, which I have watched, of the Hill's entire experience is riddled with inaccuracies. For instance, he claims the entire experience took place during an electrical storm, which is highly inaccurate. I don't know if he got his information from the Boston Traveler article, was misinformed, or just made some assumptions that seemed right to him.
Well, even Carl Sagan can fuck up sometimes. It's one of those examples of skeptic expertise we see where just because there is an expert on a certain discipline, they are kind of assumed to be trustworthy in all disciplines. Like an astronomer may not be an expert in electrical storms or knowing about historic weather events. The public falls into the trap of still taking their views as more valid, though. Kind of like having Neil deGrasse Tyson weigh in on sociological stuff, which we have seen has been pretty fucking disastrous.
Look, a lot of people were always like, oh, I'd hate to sit in a movie theater with those robots from Mystery Science. Motherfucker, I'd sit with Tom and Crow before I'd sit with Neil deGrasse Tyson in a movie theater.
It's not like he's sitting there
the whole time.
The movie the whole time.
Yeah, but he'd be tweeting.
You just don't want to talk. No, he's not doing that during the movie. But you don't want to talk to him afterwards.
Oh, God, no. I'm getting straight out. I'm getting my refill and leaving.
With Neil, you do a dinner then the movie, not movie then the dinner.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Now, again, I am a fan of Carl Sagan, but, he did them dirty. All right?
And again, he genius.
Yes.
Modern day genius, but also, he's not an expert in everything.
Yeah.
He just plays one on TV.
Yeah. And with his spaceship of the mind, billions and billions of stars.
Billions and billions of genital warts.
A perfect circle of genital warts around the man's genitals on the meat planet. Anyway, so I love doing that voice when I can. The Hill abduction changed everything about the field of ufology. I am not trying to be, I'm not trying to use hyperbole here. I think that prior to this, there was an expectation that UFO experiences would all involve, fanciful trips to places like Lanulos or Venus or Jupiter, and that everyone had a message of love and peace. Alternatively, H.P. Lovecraft, But after this, there was a level of menace that hadn't been there before. There was the danger that on any dark, lonely road, you could be taken. Every time you got blackout drunk. Were you blackout drunk, or were you just having a screen memory? This new level of fear and paranoia spread through the entire world of ufology, and it led to a mistrust of our government due to the way they treated the UFO topic. It led to a mistrust of our own safety and a mistrust of the universe in general that is at the very foundation of the modern world of ufology and conspiracy in general. We are living in the aftermath of Betty and Barney Hill now.
I also think it's experiences such as these that have definitely helped inform that dark forest hypothesis in a weird way.
Right.
Like, the clinical and predatory angle of the Hills experiences, not unlike the absolute pits of human depravity witnessed in the preceding war between, and like what the Nazis and the Japanese had done. Like, we've all heard about Unit 731.
Oh, God. How many logs you chopped today? Yeah.
Yeah, we know humans are capable of dark shit. We also know that at the time, we're on a collision course with space, right?
Yeah.
We know ourselves and we see our potential to explore the stars and commit evil. Wouldn't it be plausible that life outside the planet has that same potential? Like, there's a lot of narrative strain between this point and the later dark forest hypothesis that you don't want to alert aliens to your presence in the cosmos, and I think abduction narratives along the lines of what the Hills conveyed are a factor in this tangle.
Right.
So I think we're experiencing a thing that I think any civilization is probably going to have a lot of shit figured out before they ever get to the point of,
they'd have
interstellar travel.
They'd have to.
Like, we're showing that, it's so easy for them to speed run, their own self-destruction before they get to that point.
Yeah.
Barring some, finding of, old alien technology while they're still in their very warlike, conquering phase.
I should play Homeworld. Sorry. But no, So here's a question. What really happened? So
fuck if I know.
Yeah, what really happened that night? I have no idea. No one does. There's no way we can. Now, did the Hills watch an episode of The Outer Limits several days prior with similar aliens in it? Yes. Does that negate the experience? Maybe. The thing about aliens... What's that?
Maybe not.
Maybe they were hopped up on a benzo and nitrate hallucination of.
It was argot. Now the thing about alien experiences is that they rely on the person experiencing it as a component. I'm getting Jacques Vallée here. We're getting back into the super spectrum and the superstructure. Your memories take the blank parts of this experience. They find something to fill it with that you can deal with. Like owls, aliens, fairies, ghosts. Whatever you have as a frame of reference will fill that hole. That's one of the things about screen memories. A lot of people always say, there was an owl at my window, and then it turns out the aliens were taking them and stealing their cummies. So... The other thing is, did Barney hear Betty telling her sister about everything on the phone? Did he hear her mention her dreams without him realizing it? Did he accidentally read her journals one day and forget about it? Betty did have a history of interest in this subject. Barney may have heard something of it and unconsciously used her information to fill in gaps in his memory during the hypnosis session. We don't know. I especially don't know. But
I think there's also something fascinatingly in character for both of them in the aftermath of all this. Betty was the type who would continuously pursue it to understand more and to come to terms with it in her own way. Through curiosity. She was always very curious.
Yeah.
Barney, however, he seemingly just needed the reassurance that he did go through something horrific.
Yes.
And wasn't just letting himself come off as weak over nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. He needed to know something happened. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. He was the spokesman for internalizing trauma to the point of ulcers. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
He did go through something awful, and the regression therapy was enough to give him that reassurance, and he was seemingly content to have that knowledge and not pursue much else afterward. Obviously, he had died in '69, so he had very many years after this.
Yeah.
But
I hate that for him.
Yeah, yeah. The only thing that really changed for him really was that his panic attack was reasonable, and there was not much need to dwell on it anymore because he at least had an explanation. At least that's what I'm seeing based on the character of these two individuals.
You're not far off. That really tracks. I feel like Betty, like I said, she was intelligent. She was curious. She wanted answers on everything. And Barney just needed to know that he wasn't losing his mind.
Yeah.
And they both kind of got what they wanted.
Yeah.
Now, here's another question about what happened. Does it matter? I mean, I honestly don't know that it does matter what actually happened at this point. The story is out there. It wasn't spread with any kind of malicious intent. Not the real story, the one from the book. It was just a couple trying to not look like laughingstocks in a world that was already kind of out to get them. Mm. So yeah, the story's out there now, for better or worse, and it's the Hills world now. We're just kind of living in it. Mm. And so that leads to my final question for the night, guys. What did we learn on the show tonight?
I learned to properly maintain the Orgasmatron 9000 so you don't spread, Galaxian herpes.
I was kind of expecting it to be about bananas, but sure.
That too.
Yeah, we did learn that you can grow a banana plant in your living room if you have some nitrate-rich fertilizer. Mike, what did you learn tonight?
I learned nothing.
Wow. Seriously, though, do you think...
I mean, in some way, the truth always matters.
Okay.
Like, nobody wants to live a lie.
Yeah, no, that's...
Well, some people do want to, but...
They're in politics.
Yeah. But, I mean... Yeah, the truth matters.
Okay. I just feel like at this point, we're just dealing with consequences now. And the myth has outgrown any kind of fact that we may discover, which you know what? We've talked about, if you had a time machine, where would you go? There. Right here to see what happened.
Would it be this or Roswell? Kevin?
Roswell was literally a weather balloon. I seriously do not believe Roswell was an alien thing. The Hills is way more intriguing. I trust that something happened to the Hills and it fucking destroyed them for a while.
And I too would love to know what exactly it is.
Yeah.
Because again, it's one of those good time travel cases because it's a seemingly small thing, but when you think about it, the repercussions to that small thing are actually much, much larger than you would expect.
Yeah, this is the ripple that spread across the pond. But Roswell, I really feel like that's just some bullshit. This is much more of a personal experience and there's so many questions. I'd love to know the answer. But anyway, that's the Hills. We have finally covered Betty and Barney Hill, guys. It's only taken 5... I'm sorry. Shit. Guys, we're now in season 6.
Yeesh.
All right. Already? Show's over. Good night.
Nope. Sorry.
Oh, no, we got to make the movie. 6 seasons of the movie.
Oh, yeah. We got to do the movie. Yep. That's...
Well, he just started 6, so we still got a whole
year.
Yeah,
we got to go to May next year, and then we'll do a movie. That's what we'll do. Which, yeah, because these aren't already 2 fucking hours as is.
Right.
So, I want to thank both of you guys for coming along, first off, on the last fucking 5 years of this show, and being a part of this. And thank you for like laughing along with me on this. I cannot explain how much I enjoy doing this with you guys. So, I do have plans for my next episode. David, I know you're working on yours at some point.
Yeah, I mean, I've got I'm a few pages into it. I just gotta flesh out the stuff, right?
Yeah. So
my semester is coming to an end, and I will have time to get that completed and start working on some stuff more regularly. So.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, thank you everyone out there, particularly our friends in the Discord, Lenora, Allie, who else we got? Bloody hell.
Never heard of them before.
Yeah, I'm trying to find a list of everybody.
Thank you, bloody hell.
Yeah.
You're appreciated.
Everyone under the cool kids user category, the skeptics category.
Yeah, Sam, Fryhide.
The online category, the offline category.
Yeah. Oh,
it's
you
a lot
guys.
of people.
We got a lot of people listening, and we really, really appreciate it. Zamarakis, just we love you guys, and we appreciate you being here.
Yeah. You know what, guys? Do us a favor. When you hear this episode, leave a question or a thought about it, and then we'll try to address it on the next episode.
Yeah. If you have any thoughts about the hills, I would love to read them at the top of the next episode. So please leave us a comment in the Discord, on Spotify, or on the YouTube page in the YouTube video, which we'll look for comments then. So, if you would like to learn more about the show, you can head to Sueprnatpod.rocks. That is Sueprnatpod.rocks. You can find a link to our Discord, our merch store, every episode of this and the Distraction Hole, and our Patreon. So we'll see you next week, or close enough, for a Weekend Weird. And until then, stay safe and stay frosty. Goodbye.
Yeah. It's a Piper Cub.
It's a goddamn Piper Cub, Betty.
No.
What the hell?
Yeah.
It's indie racing cats.
No.